Hey, mighty men of God, Joe Martin here with Real Men Connect, where we help good men become great men God's way by providing with real answers to real problems in the real world. So we're not in Real Men Ride Along. We're actually in my office today, getting ready to go pick up my daughter, and well, not really pick her up, get ready to go see her at a concert. But I came across something that made me think, man, I need to shoot a quick video for you guys. And it's on a topic that I'm sure a lot of men can relate to, and it's on the topic of forgiveness. Forgiveness. Now, we're not talking about you seeking forgiveness from others because you've done something wrong, which we all have done something wrong that we need to seek forgiveness on. But this is more so extending forgiveness. And guys, you've heard it all. That people tell you, it's biblical that we need to forgive people because we need to forgive them as God has forgiven us. And you don't want to hold grudges against people and that type of thing. And we know that forgiveness is good. Forgiveness is biblical, it's spiritual, it's obedience to God, it pleases God. But I wanted to shoot this video to give you a practical reason of why forgiveness is good for us. And as you know, you've heard my testimony that I've gone through a lot of trauma in my life. I've caused some trauma too, but experienced a lot of trauma, abandonment, abuse, anger issues, all kinds of stuff when I was a child and even as I got older. And it took a lot of counseling. It took a lot of help and accountability from friends and getting to small groups and recovery groups to get over that. But if you go through any type of recovery group, it's almost mandated that you're going to go through a process where you have to forgive the other person. You have to forgive them. And I'm not telling you that it's easy. It's one of the most difficult things to do, even though we know we must do it. Especially if the person has a hardened heart and they don't believe they did anything wrong to you, and they're acting like nothing went wrong. And so it's kind of hard for you to forgive them because you hold this resentment and bitterness towards them. But I found out a more practical way to at least help me with forgiveness. Now, also, if you want to go to a resource, I can't recommend enough a book by R.T. Kendall. R is in Raymond, T is in Tom. Kendall. He wrote a book called Total Forgiveness and Forgiving Yourself Totally. Two different books. Total Forgiveness, which I highly recommend, and Forgiving Yourself Totally, which we know that's a whole nother topic of forgiving yourself. But let me give you a quick practical reason why or how why and how you should forgive someone. And we will understand that God, when He inquires us to forgive people, He's actually giving us a gift. Let me say that again. When God is asking us to forgive someone, He's actually giving us a gift. See, from God's perspective, and Him looking at us, He sees something that we don't see. And what we don't see is that when we refuse to forgive someone, we actually incarcerate ourselves. We put ourselves behind bars. We put ourselves in bondage. Now, we don't know it at the time because we're in prison. We imprisoned ourselves and we can't even see the bars because we're so close to it. And the thing is, God sees this and He wants to set us free. And so He knows that the only way we can be set free is through forgiveness. So I'm giving you a practical reason to forgive someone is you forgive someone because you want freedom. You have the freedom to forgive them. And when you forgive them, you are set free from bondage, from imprisonment, from incarceration, from being isolated. And so let me tell you how I kind of piece this in my head together. I'll mention two people in particular, and I won't indict the other people, but my family knows I love them. But my mom and dad, we've had, an up and down relationship because my parents were teenagers when they had me. So you can imagine knowing how to raise, they were very limited on their knowledge and knowing how to raise teenagers. And I can't really get mad at them, even though I was at the time, because what would I have done when I was 16, 17, or 18 years old with two kids? And so they did the best they could with what they had. But however, I didn't understand that and recognize that until I got older, but I held a lot of resentment, a lot of anger towards them. And as I got into counseling, when I got into small groups and accountability groups and recovery groups, again, they all pointed in the same direction. Joe, you're going to have to forgive. And I knew from reading my quiet time, God wanted me to forgive him. But it was still hard and it was still difficult. But now at this later age in my life now, I find it's very easy for me to forgive now because I've changed my paradigm and my mindset. And that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. That now when somebody does me wrong, and let's say even when it was my parents, as opposed to that unction and people telling me, Joe, you need to forgive them. You need to forgive them. And then I'm grinding my teeth. It's okay, I don't want to, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then I have to keep forgiving them and forgiving them and forgiving them over and over again. You got to get the picture I'm talking about. I didn't like that feeling. And so I kept hearing, you need to forgive him, you need to forgive him. And I asked God to help me with this, and God gave me something else. And so now when someone offends me or they do something that betrays me or do whatever it is, I don't say to myself, Joe, you got to forgive them. What I do is I ask myself a different question. Joe, do you want to be free? Wow. Do you want to be free? Now, as simple as that sounds, marinate on that. Let that sink in deep into your soul, into your spirit. That person who lied to you, that person who betrayed you, that person who made you angry, that person who abused you, that person who walked out on you, that person who turned their back on you. Now, you know in your heart you need to forgive them because the way God has forgiven you. But boy, it is hard and it's difficult. But instead of saying, man, it is hard for me to forgive, I have to forgive them, I need to forgive them. Ask yourself when it comes to these people, God, do I want to be free? Do I want to be free? And if you want to be free, then you'll be free to forgive. You know, the Bible tells us that who the Son sets free is free indeed. And so I want you to be I want you to be free, my friends and my brothers out there who are listening. Be free. Free yourself from the pain of resentment, anger, hostility, unforgiveness. Free yourself. Do you want to be free? And if you think somebody could benefit from this message, please share it with some other brother that you may be mentoring or discipling, because it might actually bless them and set them free from their chains and their bondage. Guys, remember, we are males by birth, but we are men by choice. So each and every day, choose to be the man that God chose you to be and called you to be, because a male is a terrible thing to waste. So until next time, be blessed, stay strong, and as always, stay in God's grip.